Good morning. Welcome to my research presentation for my ACTE 633.5 Responding to Individual Learners paper. As you can see, I did a paper on effective identification and teaching to students with multiple intelligences. The research paper was written by me, but the original research was conducted by two Iranian educators, Yagub Avan and Hussein Pour. In their research, they took Gardner's theory of multiple intelligences, which lists 7 of these forms of multiple intelligence: verbal, linguistic, logical, mathematical, musical, visual, spatial, body kinesthetics, interpersonal, and intrapersonal, and they attempted to determine which which multiple intelligence led to the best students. The purpose of their study was, or the method of their study was to take 270 randomly sampled students from high schools in Tehran. They then tested them for multiple intelligences, and then they looked at the outcomes of their education to find out which ones were the most successful and which ones were the least successful. Unfortunately, in my opinion, this was a research project that really didn't have a lot of merit because they actually weren't teaching to the students in a different way. They were homogeneously grouped, and we know very little about the Tehran education system and exactly which students were being taught to and which intelligences were being taught to. So what I attempted to do is I attempted to take this research, which was interesting research, and I attempted to pattern it in my course, which I'm going to be teaching next year. The results of their studies showed that the verbal linguistic learners and the visual spatial learners had the highest achievements at the end of their high school careers, while the musical intelligences were the least successful, which, in my opinion, doesn't come as a surprise, considering the standardized methods that we use to teach and test. They identified which learners were most effective learners in their learning environment that they were forced to adapt to. In my class, what I'd like to do, I'd like to identify these multiple intelligences early on in the class and then provide teaching techniques that correspond to each student's individual needs. So for next year, I have some pretty specific goals, and I've already started to implement them. Obviously, in this class, we talked about how to conduct surveys, and my surveys were to determine what students' perceived strengths and weaknesses are, and then to also assess what their multiple intelligence are with a short 10-question multiple intelligence test. After that, what I'd like to do is diversify and give each student an opportunity to learn to their strengths. So I'm going to provide both face-to-face and online options for my class. I'm going to provide some hands-on lab techniques, a lot of hands-on lab techniques, and then I'm going to provide some digital learning strategies like we learned in our classroom text by Jukes, and also learn or teach some reading instructions, because I thought Caro stated that there are a lot of students who have difficulty with reading online text. And I think since these students are taking online tests, the Keystone tests are online, they should actually learn some strategies, not only for test taking, which I also plan to implement, but also for online reading. Furthermore, I think since these students have failed the Keystone test, I've got to implement some techniques that specifically help the at-risk learners that are going to be in my class. I like the 5 C's that Repetto gave us that allowed us to make kids feel more comfortable with this online learning environment and this environment that I'm doing, which is a hybrid learning environment. Furthermore, I'd like to work very closely with our counselors and our life skills, not life skills, but our remediation teachers to try to keep students on track with their special learning strategies. Finally, the ENICOL standards set up a standard for this kind of blended learning that I'm envisioning, where I'd like to demonstrate to the students the correct mindset that they're going to need for success in life and for this class. I'd like to also demonstrate the qualities of grit and persistence, which I think a lot of them are lacking when they come into my class. I'd like them to be able to adapt, and so I'll demonstrate those adaptive skills. I'm planning on using the librarian to teach reading skills and test-taking skills. And finally, I demonstrate the desire to continue to be a lifelong learner. My technical skills are not the best, but I'm working on that by completing this series of courses. And I always continue to take courses both online and face-to-face so that I can better demonstrate to the students what a lifelong learner looks like. So through these techniques, I'm hoping that I will apply what I learned from this research project in my classroom for my course next year, and that my students in the end will benefit from it in this hybrid learning environment. It's been a pleasure taking this course with everyone, and I want to thank you all, and thank you for all your support and your feedback, and hope to see you in another online course soon, or face-to-face sometime if you ever visit Castle Vineyards in Hershey. Talk to you later. Bye.